All right. Welcome to Las Vegas Broadcasting Company, Behind the Scenes. My name is David Hare, and as you can see, I have somebody that you're seeing his name on the screen, Richard W. Snyder. Welcome, Richard.
Thank you, Dave.
All right, well, listen, we're going to talk a little bit about the company, Las Vegas Broadcasting Company, and some of you will be surprised to know that name's not real. Actually, it is. Our real big corporation name is Entertainment America, Inc., a Nevada corporation. And Richard is over everything. He is our CFO, Chief Financial Officer, and our Chief Legal Counsel. And so we're going to talk to Richard in just a second. Let me tell you a little bit about what's happening with the network. Major growth is going on right now. We're getting ready to expand, doubling the size of our studio here in Las Vegas. We've been doing the show every single night and just did a kind of an upgrade in the studio that I'll probably talk about on tonight's Las Vegas Live program. Well, it is great to have Richard with us. Richard, you and I go back a long way, but don't, right?
Oh, absolutely. many decades.
And we went to the same elementary school.
Yes.
And did you ever pick on me, or did I ever pick on you?
I don't recall.
I don't either. I met Richard many years later, and he's like, David Hare, and the trifecta of ways that we knew each other was just beyond my comprehension. I mean, we won't go into it all tonight, but it was pretty interesting. And Richard, you know, as often is the case with corporations, I know this story from many people. I didn't try to live this story. It just happened, and it happens with many companies that you meet the attorney that has become synonymous with the corporation during a legal battle. And we had one such battle, and this is the legal eagle. That's why I put up Legal Eagle Richard W. Snyder, because he is the legal eagle that pulled us through an incredible battle. And now you're here in Las Vegas, Chief Financial Officer, Chief Legal Counsel. A crazy ride, huh?
Yeah, it's a crazy ride. It's been a from start to finish, it's just been a roller coaster.
Now, let me tell you about Richard and his personality. I just kind of tell it like it is. So I go into his office for the first time, and I was a little distraught. Needless to say, I was a little distraught. And I go into his office, and you see how he is, very pleasant, very nice, and even a little bit soft-spoken. And so I'm sitting there, and I've been in a few attorneys' offices, and I had a pretty killer Texas guy, actually a notorious guy in Dallas, Dennis Brewer, and he's no longer with us, but he's well known in Dallas, and this guy was just, well, come on, Texas as Texas gets. So, having spent a lot of time with Dennis Brewer in Dallas, when I went into Richard's office, I was like, I don't know. And Richard's just talking, just as nice can be. And the phone rings. And I'm literally sitting there thinking, I don't know. I mean, this guy's pretty nice. And, when you have an attorney, you need a nice guy to you, but somebody who can, kick some royal butt. And so I'm sitting there thinking, all right, I don't know. And then he goes, can you excuse me for a minute? I said, absolutely. He takes the phone call. And in about 30 seconds or less, he's going, do you think I am stupid? How long do you think? And he was dealing with, his opposition or somebody that I could not believe it. So you can be tough when you have to be.
Well, you have to be tough every time you have to be tough. It's one thing when you're dealing with your client. It's another thing when you're dealing with the opposition. Sometimes you get along with them. You speak to them with a normal tone of voice, and sometimes you just gotta get angry.
He is a tough one, and when he was done, I was just sitting there, like, all righty, because it was serious. Now let's talk a little bit about you and what interested you in law. You've been practicing law how long?
20 years.
20 years, and what got you into law? Why were you, what interests you about it?
I have family that are attorneys, and it seemed like a good profession to go into. Although there's a lot of them that I don't get along with. I've met quite a number of people in my profession.
Are there any attorneys you don't get along with that you and I both have dealt with? See, he won't say a word.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
There's one or two, but I'll leave their names out of this. I don't want to be sued.
Oh, you don't want me to get sued.
No, neither of us.
All right, so 20 years in law, and Richard has represented some of the biggest retail jewelers, and I've seen him just kind of from a distance helping these clients, and then you come in and you wait. I'll tell you a funny legal story. Dennis Brewer, have you ever heard of Dennis Brewer?
No, I don't think so.
Dennis is pretty notorious in Texas. He's a guy who's like on, covers of magazines in Dallas, and he's passed, as I said, but he represented some of the biggest names in televangelism. And so he gives me he's just this big, boisterous, crazy character, and he gives me this speech about, how everything with him is confidential, and you never have to worry about, anything going out of my office. And I'm like, and I was young. I was in my 20s at the time, and I'm sitting in this legal giant's office and way up high in Dallas, overlooking the whole city. And he's giving me this lecture about how everything's top secret. And his paralegal comes in and says, I won't say who, but it was somebody I knew and a big name in televangelism. And he said, they're on the phone and would like to talk to you. And he goes, hold on a minute. And he gets up like he's going to go to another office. And I was like, do you want me to step out? He says, no. But then he sits back down, turns the speakerphone on, and engages in the most confidential conversation. I found out more about that organization that day. And I was kind of scratching my head saying, how does confidentiality work? What is confidentiality exactly? I mean, it's a legal thing, obviously.
Well, absolutely. You don't talk about your client's issues with anybody. Everything that your client says to you, you need to keep quiet.
Okay, so Las Vegas Broadcasting Company. Let me explain a little bit about how we work. Richard W. Snyder, right here, this gentleman, is our Chief Financial Officer and our Chief Legal Counsel, and anything regarding that, he handles. He not only has helped us in battles, he's helped us to make sure that, people pay their bills to us, and the other thing he's helping us with, and we're almost wrapped up with it, we're getting down to the final stages of it, hope to be completed, is the transition from California to here. And let's talk a little bit about that. I've told the viewers that, it's all over the website, and, we've made it public as public can be, that we originally started the network in SoCal as ATN. And then we launched the corporation out here in 2015, but didn't start moving out here until the latter part of last year, the year that we're in. How does that happen? Are we a completely different company, or are we merging, or is one buying the other? How can you just give the viewers and maybe some of our sponsors and businesses we work with a general view about how that transition is working and how it's going?
Well, it started as one company in California, and that one company, it was a California corporation. And I don't know if anybody out there realizes how hard it is to do business in California.
Yeah.
It's just a nightmare. From the rules and regulations, the taxing, it's just a nightmare. Las Vegas is the place to be.
Yes, sir.
It is the place to be. You want a business-friendly state, Las Vegas is it. So the new company is obviously a Nevada corporation. So we're going to be taking and combining the two as a Nevada corporation, merging out the California corporation into one entity.
So the California corporation, it's not as though we're just shutting something down, leaving it, and coming here. They're merging together, and what was that now then becomes this?
Yes, it all gets wrapped into one. All of the assets get wrapped into one. All of the liabilities get wrapped into the new entity. Everything just comes together, kind of like a marriage. It's your debts, my debts, everybody's debts are all...
Everybody's debts.
And everything comes out of the same bank account. And you all know how that works.
And when should we be completed? I mean, we've been working on this for some time, but when do you think we'll be wrapped up and kind of just completed with that process?
Well, I'd like to see it done within the next 4 to 6 months.
Okay, good. So there you go. That's a little bit of what's happening. Now, Richard's telling you the legal side of it. He looks at the books, and let me tell you about the first time. let me just back up 2 seconds and tell you something. Boy, this shirt's coming down. I look like a cartoon character. Let me tell you a little something. I am great with a budget, meaning I understand money. In fact, any show that I've ever produced, I've always come in under budget, like Donald Trump with construction. It's not a joke. I can look at a budget and come in under budget and say, here's how we can save some money. That's a totally different matter. So when people say, well, you're not good with money, not true. I'm very good with money. The problem is I'm not good with bookkeeping and all the details and all the technicalities and dotting every I and crossing every T. And, when I first, the real threshold of trust with Richard for me, you can say, well, you have attorney-client privilege or you have this or you have that. The trust is letting a piece of you go. It's not about, anything wrong or not wanting people to see some. It's about, I'm going to release this. And when I released the books to Richard, that was scary to me because I was like, I am the guy who's run everything. And what did I do? Didn't I deliver everything in a nice, tidy, document delivery truck and it was all well organized? Come on, you can embarrass me. How nice was everything when it came to you?
It was just about as bad as it gets.
We're talking physically, right?
Yeah, physically, just about as bad.
But in terms of legally, nothing shady, crooked going on, nothing.
Well, what I mean by as bad...
That should have been a quick no.
What I mean by as bad as it gets, it means unorganized.
Okay, yeah.
It was just tossed.
And yet every dollar was accounted for, huh?
Absolutely.
And you didn't know how I did it, did you?
No. Well, you save every receipt that you get and you throw it in a box and let the accountant figure it out.
And that's what happened. It all showed up to Richard in a box. And it was a quite messy box, wasn't it?
It was a messy box. It was a messy box.
But now... let's be serious. I mean, we're kind of having fun with it, but you have seen, our operation and what we do here, and explain to the people why your position is so important when you were talking with me a little bit ago about keeping track of everything that we do here. And, that stuff in boxes and everywhere didn't happen because people are lazy. It happened because we were completely swamped and doing the best we could. So explain to them a little bit about what we do, contrasted with what it is you do and why your job's so important to the network.
Well, everybody has what they do best is what they do best. Some people are creative. Some people are technical. Some people are good with computers. Other people are good with construction or something of that nature. David here is genius with the computers. Getting with the production work, with he's got the personality, he's got the whole dream and idea for this network to work, and the more time he can focus on doing that, the better this company is going to be. It just takes a lot out of it to sit down when you're done with a 14-hour day and do another 4 hours of books. Make phone calls to resolve issues with vendors, with customer service, with all that good stuff. It just takes a lot out of you, and it takes you away from the creative angle, takes you away from everything that you need to be doing that you do best.
Yeah, and that's the truth. And that's why I said the real test for me was the day I did deliver everything, because it's letting go. And I see, we talk a lot on behind the scenes about small business or running a business or being an entrepreneur. And I will tell you, a lot of people get dissed sometimes because people think people hide stuff. No, when you have birthed something, you get to a physical place where you need help, which was my situation. So I hired somebody to physically help me with things that had to be done. Well, the books have to be done, but you keep little things sacred and close to the vest, and you do it. And releasing those things is the hardest things for entrepreneurs to do. You feel like, well, wait a minute, what if I have a bad month, and how am I going to tell the accountant or the attorney or the bookkeeper that I got to take that last $1,000 for my wife and kids? There's just a lot of stuff that people go through when you're an entrepreneur, and for different reasons. Now with me, I give more than I take, which he's also trying to correct that, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And the bottom line is that we as entrepreneurs have a hard time letting go of those sacred cows or those things that are very special to us. And so I have been liberated. Now, we've got a long way to go. Richard's told you a little bit about the merger and how all that's happening. And so we've got a lot of work in front of us. We have, I would say, probably 80% of it behind us. We have come a long, long way in a few short months, haven't we?
It's amazing the amount of change. 8 months ago, there was no studio here in Las Vegas. It's all sprung up. You can see behind us the control room, the amount of equipment, the technical aspects of setting this place up. It's just amazing how far it's come.
I called Richard. Let me tell you the other side. So I said some of you entrepreneurs, you have a hard time getting rid of your, letting loose of your sacred cows or the things that, you've kind of held dear. And I encourage you to find a way and the right person. I mean, it's taken me years. It was way back in my 20s that I had an attorney I trusted, which was Dennis Brewer. And for years I knew what I needed. And I just couldn't find the right person. It wasn't time. I don't know. I mean, I wish maybe I had, but Richard came along and this happened organically, huh? I mean, it's not like I walked in with a portfolio and offered you a job. It just, we knew each other and a little bit of the same ground that we had shared in life in Orange County, California. And it developed into a friendship, and you literally, have saved my butt more time than butts. I think I do have butts plural, but you've saved my butt more times than I can count. And then it just was a natural outgrowth. And do you know stories like this? Well, I'm talking to some entrepreneurs out there who maybe are hoping they find a Richard Snyder.
Yeah, well, it's hard finding an honest attorney. Let me tell you, I'm telling you, it's hard to do. It can be done. It can be done. There's a lot of good people, but man, there's a lot of bad ones too.
And the next thing is, so once you come to the place where you can let stuff go, is here's the biggest hurdle to letting stuff go or letting somebody else take over is you're an entrepreneur, and part of the reason you're an entrepreneur is you want the freedom to entrepreneur, and you don't want people telling you no. And so, I've often had people say, well, you just need someone who can tell you no. Let me give you a perfect telephone. See, he's big attorney. He's got a judge calling him right now. Yeah. So let me tell you one of the things that you can sit over there. It's fine. Let me tell you one of the things that I have found. With Richard, I called him up one day, and I'm not going to go through the whole story, but I called him up here in Vegas. I said, Richard, I want to move to a great location on the Strip. And Richard's first counsel to me was no. And that's what some of you fear in turning things over and letting other people help you, is that people are going to tell you no. And he said, not no as in, basically not now is what he said. I don't think no was it exactly, but not now. And that was a no to me. And I said, but let me explain some things. And he listened. He called me the next day and he said, you know what, I think you're on the right path. Now, I then took what he said, and the building that we were looking at, I said no. So even though we were moving in the direction of yes, based on his initial, I don't think now's the time, but then him saying yes, you see, that's life. It just kind of all started coming together in a bubble of let's make the best decision. And when you have somebody who will challenge you in business or your ideas, what's great about that is it helps you to make the best decisions. Now, conversely, you don't want people who are tying your hands and you can't do anything. But don't be afraid of somebody challenging you. And that's a long way of saying, Richard's not afraid of challenging me. And, if it makes sense, I say, you know what, you're right. And there have been times, there's some stuff I wanted to do legally. I'm like, you need to do this. And Richard said, no, I'm not doing that.
But you have to have an open mind.
Right.
Okay. And you also have to listen to, you can never think you know everything. Okay. So as an attorney, when somebody tells
okay, that's it. Cut.
When somebody tells you something and you with your experience and your the amount of information that you have. You make advice, you make decisions, you give advice, and then you get more input. Things kind of massaged a little bit. The property, I agree that the property that we were looking at was it was way too small for what we needed to do.
Isn't that fun? I love it when your chief financial officer says too small. I'm like, yes. It was, but it was a good location though.
Oh, it was a fantastic location. Just too small. It would have cost a lot to acquire that property, and the person who was selling it was just out to lunch on their price. So. We just you just have to. You cannot chase after a deal. I think that's what Trump said in the book,
The Art of the Deal.
Yeah. You got to be prepared to walk away.
Well, that's what he did with Mar-a-Lago. He went back, told them a price. They said no. He said fine. They came back and said and he said okay, but lower. And he did this 3 or 4 times and got a price he liked.
Well, and he got it too.
Yeah.
There you go.
All right, how we doing on time, guys? Can somebody give me a heads up here on where we at in time? Huh? Oh, 6 minutes. Okay, let me get some brochures real quick and remind everybody how they can contact us. So, what do you think of Las Vegas? And you said a little bit about the business side of it. What maybe some of the people watching, we have our great sponsor who's a realtor out here. You're also heavily involved in real estate and investment in that area. Talk a little bit about the Vegas market versus SoCal. Go ahead and take the mic for a minute.
Well, let me tell you.
Put your hand up. You cover the bottom.
There we go. I assume I'm talking to people everywhere, not just in Southern California. The price of housing in Southern California is astronomical. I mean, it is beyond belief. Beyond belief. You want to get a 2,000 square foot house? How many people out there live in 2,000 square feet? Probably a lot. That's not a big house. Nice, modest house. You're looking at $500 per square foot for a house on a 4,300 square foot lot. My God, $1 million for a modest house.
Yeah.
Out here in Las Vegas, a fifth that, $100 a square foot. You don't have the cool ocean breeze in the summertime.
It's nice right now,
but the rest of the year is pretty nice.
That's right.
It's nice, and the it gets a little cooler in the winter, a lot hotter in the summer. But hey, I'm originally from Arizona. So I can handle the heat.
What do you think about obviously the square footage and everything, but what do you think about the neighborhoods and outside of the Strip? The community's pretty cool, isn't it?
It's pretty nice.
Yeah.
It's pretty nice. I have nothing bad to say. I like a little bit more green.
Yeah.
You get green out here. You just have to water a lot to keep your stuff green.
If you water your lawn one morning, you can literally go to Lake Mead and you'll see that it's people can't even ride a jet ski on it.
Yeah.
So you don't want to anyway. Okay. So listen, if you would like one of our brochures, why would you want one? Well, you can get one online, but these are kind of cool, and you can give them to friends that are coming to Vegas. There's savings and discounts on the back. How do you do it? Well, the website's on the screen, LasVegasBroadcastingCompany.com. You see it on the screen as LVBroadcasting.com. Either way, I'll get you there, LVBroadcasting.com. And there you have it. 702 helicopters. They keep us up in the air. Our logos will be appearing on those helicopters shortly. Above all, ATV Las Vegas, ATV tours and watercraft rentals. You and Mark, so many great sponsors. Jungle Zone. We could just go down the list. Don't forget the Viewers Club, the Vegosity, the Best List. Everything that we have to offer is at our website. Sign up and get us to mail you a few of these. We'll send you up to 5. You can give them to friends. And the reason you want to sign up now is not for a brochure, which is gorgeous, by the way. You want to sign up because we'll be coming out with our magazine next year. And the first one is going to be a collector's edition. And you'll be able to just keep that. Great pictures of us starting the network here and a little bit of our background and history. And I think you'll have a lot of fun and some celebrity interviews in it. So it'll be a lot of fun. Well, Richard, thanks for dropping by.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
It was fun, wasn't it? He took some corporate pictures today. Did they turn out?
I think so.
You think I can get any money for them on eBay?
Not a dime.
All right. Well, you're watching Las Vegas Broadcasting Company. This is the show we call Behind the Scenes. And remember, We are here live. We're your 24/7 window on Las Vegas. I want to remind you again, go to lvbroadcasting.com. I'll see you later tonight on Las Vegas Live, where we talk all things Las Vegas. Until next time, my name is David Hare. Have a great one.